Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Debbie here. I have this bottle. It was an empty tequila bottle that I got out of a neighbor's trash, and it is just the perfect shape for a fall pumpkin. It was tequila. I can see that there's some embossing in the glass. So I'm going to use a combination of this pumpkin orange craft paint. It's just a craft acrylic. And I'm going to add some of this vintage mustard chalk paint from Folk Art. And I'm going to mix the two together because I want a softer orange. I don't want that in your face pumpkin orange. I just love this softer color. It's almost a dark peach color. Just loving the way these two went together when I mixed them. So I am going to give this a coat of this mixed paint. Then I'm going to let it dry for an hour and give it a second coat because I want some pretty opaque coverage on this bottle. I don't think I'm going to put lights in it. I probably could because it's got a cork lid. So I probably could, but I'm going to paint this and I'm going to let it dry. I'm also going to give the wood part of the lid, just the wood part. I'm not going to touch the cork. I'm going to paint it this Folk Art moss green chalk paint. And I love the contrast of this moss colored paint with the blended orange. I'm going to call it blended orange because I just mixed it. Don't be afraid to mix your paint colors, guys. Let them be the color that you want. Don't just settle for what you've got. It doesn't take much to lighten or darken a paint color, or like here, I blended two. This is what the two colors looked together when they're dry. Oh my gosh, I love the contrast now with this green lid. So pretty. So I'm going to take this jar. The front of this jar where the label was is flat, but the back side of this jar is nice and rounded, and I love that. So I'm going to use this napkin. This is last year's Dollarama napkin, so just a dollar store napkin. I want the pumpkin. And I've done that. I just cut out with my scissors the pumpkin. I didn't get fussy on cutting out that tendril, but I did leave the stem on there. And I am going to Mod Podge this onto the front. Now it's just slightly larger than the main flattish part of the jar. So it just curves around that little bend just perfectly. And I'm just going to use Mod Podge. All I have right now is the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I am going to have to restock on this, but that's okay. This is a jar, and I'll be able to dust it, wipe it down, not worry about rubbing any of this paint or finish off. You guys are going to have to excuse my scratchy throat. My allergies are terrible right now. Oh, yeah. As soon as fall comes, the stuffy nose and the allergies. So you'll see I didn't put Mod Podge down on my jar first, and I usually don't use that method. Paper stretches when it gets wet. So if you've got a Mod Podge on the background and you set your napkin down, that's where your wrinkles come from because the whole paper stretches. Where does that stretch go? It just wrinkles up. So I start at the very center. Napkins are porous and the Mod Podge soaks through almost immediately. So it's going behind this napkin. My napkins in their nature are absorbent. That's what they're for. So starting at the center, then very gently brushing to the outside edges all around. And I'm taking my fingers and just slightly tugging on the napkin so that as the wrinkles develop, I'm pulling them out. Be very gentle when you do this, guys. A napkin tears so carefully. That's why you have to be particular about what your background color is on your napkin. Generally, I choose white because I want that picture on the napkin to pop. But in this case, I was trying to match the highlighted areas in the napkin so that if I tore this and anything showed through, it wasn't going to be too noticeable. And I didn't tear it. I got really, really lucky. So very, very carefully, I've got the front part down. I'm going around the edges. So what I'm going to do is just gently drag the brush to the outside edge. You're going to get wrinkles here because this is where the jar has going. It's gone around the band. Yeah, it's gone around the band. Um, it's curved here. And when you do that, you're folding the napkin very, very slightly back onto itself to allow for that curve. So all I do is just make sure that I very carefully have glue in the wrinkle as well so that that will stay down and it almost disappears. There are hardly any wrinkles at all in this napkin. I was so, so pleased with the way that it came out. Very slowly. See, I'm also putting a lot of Mod Podge onto my brush. If your brush gets almost dry and becomes kind of tacky, it'll start to drag on the napkin and that'll tear it as well. So just make sure you got lots of your decoupage medium on your brush when you're doing this. So I'm just going to get this sealed really, really well around the edges, making sure that this is never going to come off again. And the really nice part about this is that I don't have to put a coat over top if I don't want to. The Mod Podge is on the top of the napkin as well, so it's already pre-sealed. I'm just going to make sure I have all the edges down really well, and then I'm going to deal with this stem, and I'm going to just make sure that it is down really well. All the edges are done. Then I'm going to take my Mod Podge and I'm going to seal the paint on this jar as well. And I'm going to do the lid. Now, I probably won't be taking this lid off and on much, but at least this paint's going to be sealed in. Now, the front part of this jar, where the label was, I took my pencil and I just free-handed a little jack-o'-lantern face. If you're looking for cutesy faces, just scroll through Pinterest. There are hundreds of them. This one was a combination, I think, the eyes off of one and the mouth off of another one. So I don't even know whose pictures they were. I just scroll pictures and take bits and pieces and then freehand. And then I'm just using my paints and a really fine little paintbrush, and I don't paint pictures, but I'm kind of just trying to color this. I find one of the most difficult things to do is to actually paint a picture like I don't know how people do paint by numbers because you got to stay in the lines. Like I couldn't stay in the lines here. So I keep going back to my colors over and over again. And I keep trying to touch up the spots where I think I went outside the line or I didn't like the way that it looked and I wanted to change it a little bit. I started off with big eyelashes. I took them off. I painted over them because you can't erase paint. But if you do make a mistake, that's an idea. Just paint over it. I did a little bit of that pumpkin orange around the outside of the face to kind of give it a glow was what I was thinking. Now I'm using some of this copper paint and with a very, very dry brush, I'm just highlighting that glow around the face. I just want to make this look cute. So I put too much glow on, I thought. So I mixed up a little bit more of that combination paint to touch up spots where I thought that it shouldn't be. And I'm trying to keep the flat front part where the label was as the face, and then just putting the highlighted colors around the edge. I'm touching up that green stem with the moss green paint because I don't want too many colors. And once it's dry, I'm giving the whole thing now another coat of Mod Podge because I want to seal in the face. And I just want to make sure that pumpkin on the front stays there and everything has the same amount of shine. So I'm going to take this jute twine. This is just a roll of jute twine from Dollarama. Almost everything I have comes from Dollarama. And I'm going to cover the stem part on the neck of this bottle. It's easier to just hold your twine and twirl your bottle, guys. I'm going to just tie a little knot there. And then I have these little bits. They're just little bits left over from fall picks. A few leaves, some of those little, I don't even know what they were. They looked like orange colored wheat. But they just came off of picks. When I pull the picks apart, I save all the little parts. Now making another bow, I'm going to glue that on top of the leaves from Dollarama as well. And I'm just trying to make a little, just a simple little arrangement here. Now, if I had have had some rusty red berries, I might have put them on here as well. I left a bit of that string hanging down, or that jute twine hanging down from the back, and I'm going to unravel it because I just thought it looked cuter unraveled. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going to untwist this, and this little pumpkin will be done. So I think it turned out really, really cute. I've got the pumpkin for fall on one side with the leaves and that little bit of wheat type of stuff on there. And when I turn it around, I've got that little pumpkin face, that cute little pumpkin face on the back. So you could really do this with tall, skinny bottles. You could do this with any shape of bottle. I think this is really adorable. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you're watching. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, oh my gosh, I would just love it so much if you'd hit that subscribe button now before you left so you can come back and see what else I'm up to. I'll see everyone in the next video. Until then, bye-bye for now, everyone. Have a really wonderful day.